There is nothing wrong with you. Having a beautiful sound on the violin is hard. It was for me. But after playing the violin for 30 years, studying more than 800 books and what the best violinists worldwide did, I discovered 3 golden rules that allow hundreds of my students to develop a perfect sound. And today I will show you how to apply them so that you can get a beautiful sound within 15 minutes. When you play any note with the bow, there is 3 different main factors that affect the sound. The 3 factors of sound. And to have a beautiful sound, you need to adapt all 3 or it will sound bad. So the weight is basically just how much weight you apply to the string. A lot of weight will be like that. In the opposite, if you use very little weight, it will sound like this. Based on the piece you are playing, you should use a lot of weight. Or on the opposite, very little. And if you do that the wrong way, you will get a scratchy sound or whistle. That's why you need to adjust all 3 factors correctly. But let's start by seeing how to adjust the weight for playing fortissimo. The first thing is that there is 2 ways to transfer weight to the string. The first one is just to press with all fingers on the bow so that more pressure comes on it and you will see that your bow will go down. Another way to do the same is to use the natural weight of the whole arm and really feel that the weight of your arm comes into the string. That's what will allow you to have the most beautiful sound. At first, you want to make sure that the violin can hold the weight of the bow. That means that when you put more weight, your violin should not go down. You do that by really supporting the violin with the left hand, by lifting it up against the bow going down. Violin up, bow down. But here's the main issue I see a lot of beginners do. To give more weight, they will press the string very strongly, and because of that, it will sound very loudly, but not beautifully. That's why, instead of pressing the string down like that, you want to pull the strings on an horizontal manner. That means I put the bow on the string and then I want to feel that I can really pull the string. You should be able to see it moving without producing a sound. And then you want to pull these strings the whole time. Now to play pianissimo, you will do the exact opposite, trying to put as little weight on the string as possible. You should have the feeling that you are lifting the bow a little bit, because even the weight of the bow could be too much. At the same time, you want to use less bow hair. For that, you want to bend the bow in direction of the fingerboard, like that. It will allow you to play with only a small portion of all bow hairs and develop a softer sound. Now, one of the main issues with the bow is how to develop a constant weight on the string. Because most weight comes from the arm, more weight gets automatically transferred at the frog and less at the tip of the bow. The consequence is too much weight at the frog that could result in scratch, and then in opposite, the tip being too soft. What you want to do is to try to become louder as you play in direction of the tip, and in opposite, when playing an up bow in direction of the frog, we want to play always softer. That will sound like that. I will try to play soft at the frog. And as I come in direction of the tip, I will put more weight. And for you listening, it will sound very stable, but actually what I did on the bow was very different. So here's the best exercises to practice what we just saw. Choose only one note with one rhythm and try to vary the weight. Playing the same note loudly. Playing this note very softly. And varying it until it sounds like you want. Now let's see golden rule number 2. Choose the right bow speed. If you have found the perfect weight but your bow speed is wrong, you will still have sound issues. So the bow speed refers to how fast you move the bow on the string. For example, here, I move my bow very quickly. In opposite, here, I move the bow very slowly. But for being able to really control the bow speed, we want instead to think in bow divisions. That means how much bow you use for one specific note. So if you look at this graphic, I could play 1/4 note with 1/4 of the bow in this part, or with half the bow, or with the complete bow. So let me demonstrate. This is with 1/4 bow. This is with half bow. This is with the whole bow. I always played the exact same note, I just varied how much bow I used. The issue I see with most students, they will play everything with not enough bow, and because of that it will sound like this. Instead, if I use more bow, it sounds way better. Yeah, a good way to practice that is to take just a few notes from your piece, doing always exactly the same and just varying how much bow you used. You could always try playing one thing with 1/4 of the bow, then half the bow, then the whole bow. And choosing what sounds best. But now comes the most important point. Golden rule number 3. Adjust the contact point. The contact point is just where your bow in contact with the string is. It could be close to the fingerboard, close to the bridge, or anywhere in between. This is by far the easiest way to improve your sound quality. And the problem here is that most students play with the bow too close to the fingerboard, resulting in a bad sound. And just by changing the contact point and nothing else, you could improve dramatically your sound. A quick fix for that is just to lift the violin a little bit higher. Because when your violin is looking down, your bow will always go in this direction and always end up too close to the fingerboard. By lifting it up here, your contact point will stay more stable and a little bit closer to the bridge. So to practice that, you want to make sure you don't change the weight or your speed that you choose before, because those affect directly the color of what you are playing. So just play always the same thing, and doing that you could focus on 5 distinct contact points. One really on the fingerboard, one on the 4th, one really in the middle, one close to the bridge, one very close to the bridge. That will really allow you to find the perfect one. But here always comes one common problem, is that the contact point is unstable, moving between different contact points. For that reason, you want to follow the straight bow rule. That means that you want to play at all times with the bow straight. That means parallel to the bridge. This will allow you to always keep the best contact point. A good way to practice that is just to focus on the contact point and try to keep it the same the whole time on the whole bow. If you see it moving, it means your bow is not straight. So now let us see a few very important points to really have a beautiful sound on every note. First, you want to adapt the 3 factors of sound to each string. When you are playing the G string, you want generally to use more weight and play a little bit closer to the fingerboard, not too close to the bridge, or it will whistle. On the opposite, when you are playing on the E string, you want to make sure that you are not playing too close to the fingerboard, or it will sound bad. On the G string, play a little bit more in the middle, and on the E string, play very close to the bridge. Then the next point is that you need to adapt the contact point to each finger. I see most beginners having problem finding a beautiful sound for the fourth finger because they are playing it too close to the fingerboard. What happens when you put the fingers on the string is that the part of the string that is vibrating becomes smaller. Instead of having the whole string, now we have only 2/3 of the string. And for that reason, if you found an open string, your bow was here. Now with the fourth finger, you will need to put everything closer to the bridge. Or it will sound like that. And that's the same later on when you start playing higher on the violin. You need to play always closer to the bridge. And more generally, if you look at what pro violinists do versus beginners, they use way more bow, playing with a whole bow the whole time. And that they are most of the time playing closer to the bridge.